Have you ever left a group social situation and when you got home, you just felt completely drained and exhausted by it? Almost as though you just needed to curl up into a ball and maybe read a book or be in the dark or go in the warm shower and just get comfortable. And it's almost like you need to somehow recharge your batteries, and the fact that you were around other people drained you. Many people think that this is about introversion, that, if I'm an introverted person, then if I'm in a social situation, then that means that by definition, I'm going to be drained by that. But I have a different perspective. So let's take a look at the definition of what it means to be an introvert. So the common definition out there in society is that introverts are people who like to spend time alone, and they process their feelings and thoughts and everything internally. And this is the place where they recharge their batteries and gain their energy back. And the very act of being around other people is inherently draining to introverts. So that's the kind of widely accepted definition. And extroverts are the opposite to that. So in theory, these are people who gain energy from being around other people, and being alone is kind of draining to them. My perspective on this is maybe that's not the real issue with being drained. The reason I say that is I've had many experiences where that just isn't the case. It's not quite so black and white as that. By all accounts, I would be considered someone who's very introverted. If anyone else came and saw me, they would probably go, yeah, that guy's really an introvert. He's more quiet. He's definitely got a rich interior world. And, most of my life I was considered very shy by other people's standards. And I've always found, figuring out people very awkward and uncomfortable. So by those standards, I would be considered introverted. But the same thing, the thing that I have learned is that I can also get a lot of energy from being around people. So that doesn't fit the definition. So what's up? Let me tell you a story. A few years ago, I was going to a family gathering, maybe a Christmas or something like that, and all of my extended family were going to be there. I noticed in the days leading up to the gathering, there was a feeling of dread in me. And it was this, I could notice the story going around in my head, like, oh my God, like I'm going to have to talk to these people and it's just going to feel really shallow and, I don't know, like everyone's so nice all the time. And how can they be so nice? And I just don't believe that that's really what's going on. And there's a part of me just wants to get to something that's more deep and meaningful, and like small talk feels really boring and hard to deal with. So that's kind of the stuff that was going on in me. And so I just sat there for a while thinking about that. And what I realized was that the thing that felt draining about this whole situation was that I was not showing up in the truth of how I was. And I was expecting other people to do the hard work of being authentic with me, and that would give me permission to be authentic. It's like I was waiting for them to lead me. And in that moment, I just realized there was something really wrong with that thinking. And a part of me just had had enough by then. And I just went, fuck it. Like, I don't want to have to wait for the world around me to give me permission to be authentic. So I chose to show up and just show up how I was. I wasn't, I didn't want to pretend or perform or be anything other than what I was. And so I didn't. And what I noticed was I actually felt really good. And I had some great conversations with people, and I was talking about the things that I wanted to talk about. And other people were coming along on that journey with me, and it felt like I was actually leading them to a place where we hadn't been before together. So that really showed me that it's not about just the external situation, that there's other people, and that's the thing that drains me. No, it's actually about who I'm being in that situation. Now let's talk a little bit about what authenticity actually means, because there's different definitions of it. My favorite one is I am being authentic when I am showing up without my survival mechanisms running the show. I am authentic when my survival mechanisms are not driving my behavior. So put it another way, when I'm feeling really safe and as though I don't need to protect myself, then that's my authentic self. And it makes sense, right? Like I'm safe to show the parts of me that I wouldn't if I was unsafe. And that's actually really what wants to come out. So my point here is that these survival mechanisms are actually the things that drain us. We have to put energy into protecting ourselves. So, and these can show up in many different ways. We all have different survival mechanisms. My ones would probably be something like I tend to be very quiet and not talk unless people talk to me. Probably don't really look people in the eye too much. If you're getting really extreme with it, my body is literally going into a bit of a fetal position, like I'm curling up. And I think that shows up subtly in social situations. It's not like I'm in a ball on the floor, but part of me is curling up and trying to hide and protect myself. So, yeah, my breathing constricts, and there's all kinds of physiological changes that happen in my system when I'm in that self-protection mode. Let's talk a little bit about polyvagal theory. So polyvagal theory is this idea that we have different pathways in our nervous system that relate to different states. So one of those states is like a fight or flight state. And in this orientation, we are geared up to defend ourselves or run away. There's another one which is a freeze response. So this is a very ancient mechanism whereby we go quiet and still, and if we hide under a bush and don't move and we barely breathe, then we will be safe from the predator. So that's another pathway. The other one is a social engagement system. So this is the state where we're connected and we're having fun and people around us feel really safe, and there's all these changes that happen in our bodies as this state comes online, and the pitch of our voice becomes more melodic, and our hearing is tuned to other human voices, and we pick up very subtle cues in other people's faces, and so we can really read them emotionally and connect with them and resonate with them. And what else? We breathe deeply and we feel playful and happy, and there's this sense of belonging and connection and joy. And so that's a nervous system organization. That's like a mode that we can transform into. So if you imagine like Transformers, the robots in disguise, they can change from being a car into like this robot that's, walking around. And our nervous systems are kind of the same. Like all of the different parts of us can reorganize themselves to either be in this really open, connected, socially aware space, or we can be in this total defense mode, and our whole nervous system's geared towards that. Our breathing's shallow and restricted, and we're sensing signs of danger, and our vision is very tunnel vision, and our hearing, we tend to filter for sounds of danger. So these are very real things that are happening inside of us. And this is all has to do with safety. So our autonomic nervous system is constantly searching for signs of safety or danger, trying to read the environment around us and check whether we are okay. And if we can provide signs of safety to ourselves, then we are more likely to be able to be in the social engagement system and feel safe. So the other aspect of this is that it's a group phenomenon. So you could imagine the deer out in the forest, and there's a group of them out there, and then maybe a lion comes along and steps on a twig and makes a sound, and one of the deer flicks its tail up and it has white fluff underneath it, and that's a sign for all the other deer that there's something dangerous around, and all of them immediately put their heads up and look around. And this is the exact same thing that happens with humans. We have these subtle signals. We don't have a tail that flicks up, but we have other signs on our faces, and the pitch of our voice changes, and the smell on our body changes. So we signal other people about how safe or how dangerous it is. And maybe you've noticed this before in a crowd where something dangerous happens. You know instantly. There's some part of you that's aware of that. So what I'm saying is that this system is running constantly, and when we can become aware of it, we can actually consciously choose to direct it in the way that we want to direct it. So the other aspect of this is that when my defense mechanisms are online, that's taking a lot of my energy and focus, and I cannot be connected, really, not at a deep level. And this is the state that people are in, I believe, in these social situations where they come back and they're feeling really drained. I think it's just defense mechanisms that are running the show. I have an invitation for you. My invitation is, next time you are in a social situation, check for yourself. Check, how safe are you feeling? How much are your survival mechanisms running the show? And, that depends on your awareness of them, but this is an opportunity to become more aware of them. Are there parts of you that are defending, deflecting, hiding, pretending, performing, trying to put up some sort of facade that makes it safer for you in some way, or makes it feel safer for you? My invitation is that if that is happening, could you first accept that that's true right now? Say, hey, I'm actually feeling really unsafe, or I'm only feeling a little bit unsafe, but I can feel that it's interfering with my social connection. And then notice, how much of an energy drain is that? So you can go, yeah, like, I've been hiding. I've been pretending that I'm feeling really happy, but actually this thing happened earlier in the day and I'm feeling really sad about it, and I don't want to show people that because that's dangerous and it's vulnerable, and I don't want to open myself up like that. But that's draining me, and that's the truth right now. So what I'm suggesting is to just pay attention to that, because that's the only way to get out of it. I'm not saying you have to force yourself to open up and become this really comfortable person and be super socially connected. What I'm suggesting is to just be aware of where you're at. Because when that acceptance comes, you actually start to get some choice around it. As soon as you go, yeah, I'm doing that thing, you can go, wow, do I want to do that? Not really. There's actually a lot of people here who, it'd be quite nice to meet them. And maybe if I take a risk, I could maybe open up a little bit. And this goes back to my story where I was actually being the person who showed up and being more authentic, and then other people responded to me. So this is another thing you can pay attention to. If you do choose to put down some of those defenses, if you do choose to show up more truthfully and more vulnerably, what happens to other people? What happens to the people around you? Because when you do that, that is sending very strong signals of safety. You're being a leader in that moment. If you can choose to be the one who goes, hey, here's my heart, and this is what's going on for me right now, or this is what I think about this thing. Whatever feels vulnerable and real and true for you, if you can show up with that and lead with that, that is powerful safety signals that other people are going to pick up on, and they're going to resonate with you and respond to you. And you are going to feel energized as heck from that. It's no longer going to be a case of, I'm an introvert and I'm in this social situation and it's draining. No, it's the whole introvert extrovert polarity is just going to collapse then. It's actually going to be, I'm around people and I feel like I'm myself and I'm not having to perform, and it feels really good. It feels great. So that's my invitation. And I would love to hear from you in the comments. If what is your experience with this? And if you do go to a gathering and you manage to become a bit more aware of your pattern, or you manage to lead someone else or lead yourself and then maybe even someone else into openness and vulnerability, what is that like? I'd love to hear it. Please share in the comments if you've got anything to share of value about this, because I would love to open up this conversation. I think it's a really important one. Thanks for listening.